He's the slick talking, jive walking, occasional chai drinking, Madeira banana eating, watermelon slurping, the one and only
Adam Josh.
Adam Josh and his trusty sidekick co-creator, Désirée. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Morning Banana Show. We're at episode number 177. Some of you know Désirée. We've been together for about 10 years, 9 and a bit. We are in the mountains of Portugal, living our dream together. She's got lots of beautiful sun on her face. She's looking more like a goddess and looking more like herself every day. I love her eyebrows. They're like going so light and blonde. She's so beautiful. I love Désirée, obviously. So I have a banana here from Madeira on my little impromptu table. We're in the mountains of Portugal at L.O.V.E farm stay, the L.O.V.E off-grid vegan experience farm stay. I'm gonna pour myself a French vanilla coffee and have some of these bananas and dates and nectarines and maybe even some of that watermelon that Désirée brought out. We're here between the two banana trees that we planted. There's more actually, but this one is Devani. There's Banana Bill, a little Kim, the tiny one, and then there's Sophia over there and Fox. And we're here hanging out. It's early morning. Not really early morning. It's morning. And today is the 8th, I believe.
Yeah.
May 8th, 2024. Welcome to the show.
We're actually trying to grow watermelons.
Oh, really?
I've got like 5 plants.
We planted so many things around here that I've lost track of all the things that we've planted. Do you want a banana?
Sort of.
So I thought with this morning banana show, the topic could be here.
Thanks.
The topic could be that how Désirée and I met and our plans and what we. Some of you who might watch the show or know us might be like, "What are these guys doing in the mountains of Portugal? Are they okay mentally?" And you might be wondering, like, is everything okay? So I thought we would discuss that. And I'm glad Désirée decided to join me on the show today. Sometimes she does. And she's always invited. She's always been invited.
Thanks, babe.
But you've got, she's got her own things. We have 2 kids, obviously. But yeah, so I mean, to start out with how I met Désirée, I mean, Désirée and I met like in 2015. It's very public information how Désirée and I met. But I made a dating profile. My sister advised me to make a dating profile on my website after giving up on the online dating
Love.
Giving up on OkCupid, and not OkCupid, but the other ones, whatever dating apps. I tried, didn't work. And then Désirée and I met basically on OkCupid. We met online. So shout out to OkCupid. You can find those videos on YouTube of us doing the commercials over the years, every one of our anniversaries. Last time we did it was in Berlin.
Oh, yeah. They're hilarious.
Yeah. And so, one of the things Désirée and I agree on is we wanted to have a better life for ourselves and for our kids and move out here to the mountains of Portugal. Less stress, more farming.
And more sunshine.
More sunshine.
300 days of sunlight? Sunshine?
Yeah. It doesn't lie. I really wanted the froth out of here. This is some new creamer that Désirée got.
You want the spoon?
Kind of, yeah. Hold on a second. Thanks. It's not my favorite of all the creamers we've been trying out. Because the bubbles are like bubble baths. And
it's oat milk, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
It's the last one that you got to try. The bubbles are like bubble bath and it kind of dissipates things.
Yeah.
Where the other ones don't.
Soy milk is denser and has more protein, so it holds the bubble structure better.
Right. Yeah, so
Someone else doesn't taste as good. It's okay, but
So most of the people who follow me on social media or follow Desiree know that we all have our own different lives and social media presences and practices. Desiree is a Reiki master and has her own Instagram handle, and
Sure.
yeah, and you have your own circle of people. And I think most of our people who know us on both sides of what we do and who we are online and our presence or whatever, they kind of understand our backstory. But for anybody who doesn't, when Desiree and I met, we had both been married before. So imagine we've been together all these 10 years, and most people just assume that we're married.
Mm.
And it's not a wrong assumption.
It's okay. You guys can think we're married.
Yeah, we're also in our 40s, and like we're neither of us are kind of like eager to jump into things at this age. You know, when you're in your 20s, you're like, ah, the marriage. But anyway,
You think somehow it can make people a better person?
right. So Desiree and I have both been married, and you know, my first question when I started talking to Desiree through OkCupid was, okay, I can hear the children in the background. Where's their father? And I don't want to get too like dark or whatever, but it's common.
Oh, this is reality.
The reality is, yeah, that Desiree's previous relationship, the guy had passed away in 2014.
We just passed the 10-year anniversary of his death.
Yeah, my ex, I guess, is a semi-notable figure in the Aboriginal community. We do not keep touch. She, you know, we got divorced before our second year anniversary, and I don't want to say anything negative about her, but I'm glad that I'm not married to her anymore, to say the least. And she moved on with her life. But both of us,
I'm glad too.
yeah, right. It didn't work out. So between her and I, obviously, and for good reason. So here we are, both desert. So I'm actually divorced. I had a divorce certificate in the mail in 2006, and I had a divorce party. This is like 10 years before I met Desiree. And Desiree obviously doesn't need a divorce certificate because her husband isn't alive. In fact, what's more dramatic is that she's got to carry her ex-husband is that she's got to carry around a death certificate as we travel around Europe, and that's, to me, I think that's just more ridiculous.
It's a little heavier
Oh,
than
hell
a
for you.
divorce certificate.
Talk about like constantly having to relive and process trauma. So the reason I bring all that up isn't to bum you guys out, but to say that Desiree and I, we've been together for 10 years, and both of us obviously are committed to each other in a loving relationship. We're monogamous. I don't joke around like about like cheating on her. I'm not secretly cheating on her. I don't watch porn. I don't secretly watch porn. You know, I'm in a monogamous relationship with her. She knows that, and I know that it's mutual. We want to get married, which is not a big shocker to people who know us. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of the background plans that we had, so that you guys can maybe understand and maybe even help with ideas and whatnot. We've been talking about getting married. One of the things that Desiree and I strongly agree on is that if you have an engagement ring or like an engagement, you should have a date because it implies that you're getting married. So to say that we want to get married is nice, but like, what's the date? Well, Desiree and I don't know the date that we're gonna. We don't have a date. So again, this is one of the reasons we're talking about this on the show. Is we wanted to kind of include you guys in the conversation. We want to get married, and we want to get married on this property, which is one of the reasons that we moved here. We wanted to build our own farm, and I bought an engagement ring years ago, and my plan was
6 years ago.
when we had a date, I would, you know, in my own way, propose to Desiree, hey, we have a date now, we should get married, and these things are happening in the future that haven't happened yet, and a kind of spanner in the works or a kink in the story there is that we got robbed a little while ago, and somebody took, among other things, the engagement ring that I've been holding on to for 6 years. So people could look at that one of two ways. One person could look at that and be like, no big deal, I'll just go get another engagement ring, the show goes on. Another person could look at that as we should get married right now because why are we wasting our time with all this planning? And you may look at that story a little bit differently. So I think that both Desiree and I are open to ideas. Like, one thing that has to happen if we're going to get married on this property is, to me, it needs to be transformed into a venue that we could get married at. Another thing we have to sort out is who's going to do the marrying here in the mountains of Portugal. Where are people going to stay?
Well, who's even going to be able to come?
Yeah, so we have this great idea that all our friends and family and you guys, if you wanted to, we could talk about being invited, but like the reality is we're in the mountains of Portugal.
Yeah.
And even though the international airport in Faro is 10 minutes away, realistically, who's going to be able to just suddenly come here, even with, half a year notice or however much notice that we give? So when we talk about getting married and the plans about getting married, and you might see me on social media posting about getting married and whatnot, you might think, oh, this is sudden and all of a sudden because they're in Portugal and they got to get married for visa reasons. Or you might ask yourself, were they already married? That's kind of weird. So it's none of the above. We had been planning to get married and talking about getting married on our own property. And we even pitched it to our real estate agent. When we met our real estate agent, we were like, this is our plan, Nelia. We want to get married on the property that you help us buy. So
we've planned to get married a few times over the years, too.
We had a plan, I think in 2020 or 2021.
No, 2020.
We started talking about it, feeling out venues, getting quotes from venues.
We almost booked a venue.
And then I think it was a month later, everything shut down, and the venue, among other venues, was not giving money back.
Yeah, so my procrastination saved us a ton of money back then.
Yeah, so some people could say, like, some people might watch this and say, like, if it's easier for Adam to immigrate or easier for Adam to get a legitimate visa in Portugal, why don't you guys go get married right now and just get it done? A lot of people on my side of the family have been.
Everyone says it.
A lot of people have been trying to basically force us into, like, you did it before, do it again. I forgot that part of the story. Both Desiree and I have been married, but both of us have similar stories. Like, we just went and got married, and we didn't have the big wedding.
We eloped.
Yeah, we both of us. It's so weird that both of us have the same story. Like, how many people in your life would you meet that have been divorced but have the exact same story, or like married before and have the exact same story? Like, yeah, we both got married, and it was kind of quick. It was in our 20s, and I regret kind of how it all unfolded.
We were young and foolish.
I don't want to do it again. Here we are in our 40s, and like Desiree is saying, almost everybody in our immediate family is like, you should just do that again.
Even strangers that we meet, they're like, why don't you just get married
Why don't you just get married real quick?
We're like, no.
Go to L.O.V.E, sign the certificate, you'll be married.
Have the lady or the stranger at the office somehow attest that you're married now.
So
no, I don't want that.
I'm sharing this with you, the internet, and the people that have followed us over the years in our story, because we're honestly at this point of, like, we need to prioritize what to do next. And some of it is a lot to try to handle. And so I'm open to ideas. And so, like, for example, I want to get a Toyota Helix. I want to buy a new tiny home. I want to plan this. We want to plan this wedding. And all of these things, as you may imagine, cost money. We want to travel in the future to other parts of Europe. We have events and things that we want to be at.
Yeah, we got to go to Italy in August.
A lot of things would be easier if we were married, but like on that timeline of getting it done before August, I don't know. So one idea that we had was let's just do the thing of going to the L.O.V.E office or wherever and getting at City Hall and getting married.
But that doesn't mean the immigration is solved.
And then we
could one element of it.
And then we could do the ceremony later. No, but like in a lot of people's argument is that, hey, Adam, it would make it a lot easier if you're actually married to this European.
But it doesn't. You just have to get the affidavit of common law, and it has the same weight as a marriage certificate.
So we're working
towards. Doesn't really make a difference.
Working towards that anyway.
Yeah.
I'm here like legally and lawfully up until now. If all else fails, I have an investment account that is producing the right amount for the investor's visa. But we talked to somebody the other day, and he was like, I've been in this country for 3 years waiting for paperwork with AIMA. And
yeah.
Can I ask him that?
Yeah.
So doing things legally and lawfully in the right way in Portugal and having all the money in the world to come with and thinking you're doing everything perfectly is great. But that doesn't stop Portugal from being Portugal. To say that Portugal has had their own way of doing things is kind of an understatement.
Yeah.
So
So the wedding is kind of separate from the immigration. Like, we don't need to be married to immigrate you, and the only reason that we need your immigration to be clear, like, we need to know that you could be here. Like, let's just say we're planning a wedding on this land as our venue. We need to make sure you're allowed to stay here in this country for the wedding.
yeah, minor details. It's a really good watermelon. Where is it from?
The store.
Okay. So it's probably from Portugal?
I don't know. I don't remember. I looked when I bought it. I checked the box. But I don't remember. It's also not a properly seeded watermelon, so I won't be getting it again. I assumed it would be seeded. But I guess it was wrong.
Where do you want
We
that?
need to be more careful with it. We don't usually buy seedless fruit.
Yeah.
Because seedless fruit may or may not create seedless people. And anyway.
While we're talking about weddings, why don't we just talk about children as well? We have 2 children
Fruit.
from her previous relationship. Some of you may know that, I've been their adopted dad, whatever you want to call it. And
as our son says, the best father ever.
Made me cry. Yeah, so I'm open to having another child. We've talked about it with the kids a lot. It's not something that we would do like on a whim. Imagine we've been together for 10 years and haven't produced a child, and it's not because, we can't. It's because we've been intentional about if we're going to have children, it should be at a certain time. All these things you think about in your 40s after being together with 10 years with the same woman, you're like, was that the right decision? Because we could have had a 10-year-old by now.
Mm-hmm.
We think like that. Like, we think like, especially when life happens or you get robbed, you start thinking like, all this procrastination that intelligent people do, is it really intelligent? Have you seen the movie Idiocracy? Because that's the whole intro. Intelligent people just don't have children. They find reasons to procrastinate on everything. Meanwhile, the uneducated and third world just keeps reproducing. Because they're not worried about things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we get a bit caught up in financial planning and safety and security and backup.
The biggest thing I see with the biggest complaint I hear with Désirée is, at some point she's not going to be able to have children, Adam. But
okay, we could always adopt.
Again, yeah. So basically, at this point, I've said to Désirée a couple times, why don't we get a wedding planner? Because we're stuck up on a few things that don't make sense to us, like turning this place into a venue right now is one of them. We're trying to do that. I'm in the middle of like doing some things that are clearing a stage, and we built a few things here. We planted a bunch of things, but we've only been here for like 2 months, and we make it seem like we've been here for 10 years already.
Not even 2 months.
So there's still a lot that we need to do. We need to get our children in a school. That's one thing. So we have like a lot on our minds and a lot that we're both working on while simultaneously trying to work out all the legalities of not only me and the kids, but also, if we were to get married, of being here in Portugal. People get married in Portugal all the time. I'm not saying that. So maybe you have some ideas. Maybe you're a wedding planner and you want to come help us plan a wedding. Maybe you want to help us build a stage. Maybe you have some ideas on how to get all the balls rolling in the right direction. Please send me a direct message or find
Maybe
me
you
an
know
ex.
someone at the immigration office.
So a lot of people in our lives don't really know our plan, but that was one of our plans is to get married on this land. At least have the reception here on the land. So I don't know if you knew that or not, but I don't know. I've teased it here and there, mentioned it, but that was one of the plans. It wasn't Operation Word Wall. It was, we had a whole other name for it. I forgot. Operation Word Wall. No, yeah, it was Operation Word Wall. Operation Church Fart was concluded when we arrived at the airport in Germany, and the church steeple, the church area door
had a creaky
door that sounded like a fart.
It was so perfect.
I considered it the conclusion of Operation Church Fart. Operation Word Wall, which we're currently still in the middle of, is the whole idea of building this place out as a venue, inviting people, and seeing the venue at our wedding. That was, I'm just being honest, that was the whole point of Operation Word Wall, to build a venue with a word wall.
Well,
and
not the whole point, but
one of the
part
whole
of
points.
the plan.
Yeah.
The main point is for us to have a home.
So all these things take time. Maybe it would take less time if you have some great ideas. Otherwise, we're just going to keep trudging away, step by step, doing things in our own time. I don't think it's our destiny to get married at 50 years old to each other, but we have our own way of moving, you know. We're kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, you know. A lot of progress, then a little bit back. That's always been how it is for Désirée and I both. That's both of our stories, and we're trying to like collapse the timelines and move faster. You know, we're only 2 people though, with a lot of love in our hearts.
Yeah. I mean, we do what we can.
So it's easy to say just get married, but we want to have the wedding that we both want. I don't think that's too much to ask, and I don't want to be forced into yet another marriage, and I don't think she does either.
No, like we just don't want to elope. We're not, the difference is we're not getting married for the sake of getting married. We're getting married to celebrate our love, and we're getting married to share that with the people that we are going to invite. And I think that's like, we're not in a rush because we know we love each other. And we know we want to be together. So, like, there's no pressure to prove that to anyone. We don't, you know, we're not getting married for anyone else. We want to celebrate us, and we want to do that in a great way. And
Désirée isn't going to give me an ultimatum of like, if you want to stay with me, then we have to get married, and you better put a ring on my finger.
That's not our relationship.
Yeah.
You know, that's not how we are.
So,
yeah.
I just wanted to include you guys in the conversation. That's where we're at. If you want to follow Désirée on social media, what are your channels that they can best follow you at?
I haven't actually logged into Twitter in like, I think since we got here. Oops. So Instagram is better for me, at Pure Love Reiki. Better way to reach me. I actually log on to there almost daily. So yeah.
And I have these YouTube channels, and I'm on X at adamjosh.com. I have my website, adamjosh.com, where this video will be posted to. Yeah. Thanks for following. That was Morning Banana Show number 177. I hope that you guys have a great day and take care of yourselves. Thanks for hearing our story and helping us if you can. Bye-bye.